Folks, allow me to introduce Sharon Rolph. She has transitioned her behavioral science master's degree and years of facilitating empowerment after she retired from Boeing in 2016. She helps people. She's a retirement essence coach. Holistic retirement planning is what she does now. She provides or builds out your purpose, your health, your family, and financial transitions. So she's qualified to help empower boomers to find a place to fit in. And she has 3 tips for creating a new life after retirement. I'm going to stop there. Other than the fact that she's way out west and south of the border, Sharon, over to you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm north of Seattle, and yet fall is seeming to be showing up here. It was 54 last night, Celsius and Fahrenheit. And I'm going to talk about what happens when you no longer have a business card. And this is kind of my passion. I've always had a hot button for potential. So your potential in retirement is really important to me because there's so much untapped potential here. So you've heard of retirement planning. Most up until about 4 years ago is all financial planning. And now boomers have, since we're living longer, and we're healthier. And, I'm pushing for 100. I don't know about you, but I'm 74 already, and I brag about it because people don't believe me anyway. But the holistic retirement is, in fact, now described as 4 pillars that I'll go into. But I want to help you be so successful that it becomes the best season of your life. So I am a behavioral scientist and a certified knowledge manager. And my website is SharonRolph.com. So let's see. I would like to ask you, let's see. The clicking forward. All right, there it goes. All right. Of my audience here today, how many of you are eligible in the eligible retirement age bracket? Can you show me your hands, please?
What does that even mean?
So does that count?
That means you're at a certain age where you can go, I'm stopping my work. There's money in the bank and I can live large.
My work stops when they put me in the box.
Okay, yeah. A lot of us feel that way. So the rest of you, are you within 5 years of retiring? Show of hands. Okay, Bernie admits he's within 5 years of retiring. All right. And a show of hands of people that are struggling in retirement or even stuck. So, okay, all right, a couple of you do know people that way. So, all right, let's start with what's missing when you no longer have a paycheck or a business card. What comes to mind? Drop something in the chat as to what goes missing when you no longer have a job. All right, it looks like we have one. Oh, we do have some chats. I don't see them. So Bernie, you want to read them to me, please?
Well, okay, sorry. Constant pay. Who likes constant pay? Michael.
So the routines, purpose, perhaps a network, constant pay, built-in social network, so a community,
Cool.
Mental activity.
Right on. Okay, good. I was surprised when I watched a woman in front of a class of people ask the same question, and they came up with 40 or 50 things. So it is amazing. Okay, so I got to practice. Yeah, here we go. All right. Here's the PERMA worksheet. I don't remember where I got it from, but I realized that this is the emotional intelligence that the kind of things we get from our jobs, positive emotion, engagement, relationships, meaning, and accomplishment. So emotional positive emotions are joy and gratitude, feeling inspired, feeling vibrant and alive, unstoppable. That's a good feeling. Engagement, where we get beyond the normal monotonous routines and to the point of feeling engaged or active or zoned in, like nothing else is going on. I remember the first time I zoned in and forgot time and existed, and I was sewing as a teenager. So that was my first zone in kind of thing. So in relationships, who do you go to lunch with? Who do you go to meetings with? Who supports you and energizes you? Or you have a favorite person that makes you laugh? That's what you have from your work. Then meaning, somebody mentioned purpose. Yes. The cause larger than yourself. I remember having my picture taken up next to a great big sign that was happened to be at the corporate headquarters, and I thought, I represent part of the success of this company. And it didn't exactly make me feel important, but it made me feel like there was a little bit of purpose beyond me there. And then accomplishments. Goals actually help give our life structure. And I've heard a number of people say that, without the structure of a job, they were just kind of bouncing off the wall. And I guess to some extent that was me as well. But your sense of identity definitely comes from your job and your level of satisfaction. So to fill in this work column now, especially if you're within 5 years of retiring, is a very good activity to do. And when you retire, now your job is to fill this void, this emotional void is your journey forward. So where you have to get deliberate about planning, where does your joy and gratitude and vibrancy and engagement, how you thrive, what energizes you, what makes you laugh, a cause larger than yourself. You have to be deliberate in planning that in retirement. And that's a big part of what's not currently covered in your financial planning preparation for retirement. So that's daunting, but starting now before you retire is a really good thing to do.
Sharon,
So,
just
yes.
on that, can I just offer an experience I had?
Yeah.
So I had worked for the federal government, and they have a really good retirement course in the federal government that everybody is encouraged to take. I was saddened that the financials were at the beginning. Everybody was glued to this. There was a bit of medical and things like this. The recreational, social kind of things was the very last item they covered. And I think there were maybe a fifth of the people in the room. People left after the financials and medical. Nobody else cared about anything. And I thought, you know what? I think they're missing the most important thing. They just have their priorities misaligned.
So why this there needs to be a culture change around this. And the boomers are starting to pull on, we need more information. And this is the biggest thing I think that's missing. Now, the 4 pillars are also significant, but this is so much personal to your, what makes your heart sing or feel useless or invisible. So thank you for sharing that, Tanya. That's very significant. And I also want to suggest that giving this presentation to some of your companies may be a good way to go too. So the easiest thing, I've just come up with this equation in the last couple of weeks because it's so simple, and yet it somehow eludes our understanding that when you retire, it's time to reinvent yourself. You no longer have a boss. You no longer have structure and so forth, but you still have the education that you got all throughout your life. You still have tons of experiences that you've gained over the years. You still have the talent. Maybe you were a dynamite trombone player in high school. Well, you might have to refresh those skills, but maybe you were a debater and that helped you all throughout your career. Now you have wisdom, that reflection on what made sense in your life and what worked or didn't work. But you also have all your colleagues and friends and all the jobs that you've worked at. You might still be in touch with some of them. But the big thing is you get to live from your heart. You may not have a chance to do that in your job. And now it's full access to making from what makes your heart sing. So since I've always had a hot button for potential, I see all this free time in retirement as huge untapped potential. And that's why I wrote my book. So Fresh Courage in Retirement, Finding Purpose, Essence, and Fulfillment. And I make these little art blocks. In fact, here's one of my favorite, Cherish Forever What Makes You Unique. And in my decade of going through life, we were all, you're supposed to fit in, wear the same jeans, the same haircut and all this as everybody else. Being unique was not okay. And in retirement, that's perfectly okay. So like it's your time to shine but you're also the boss. So so I wrote my book, and I have call to actions in every chapter, but it's mostly around do-it-yourself purpose. And I lead you to, by the end of the book, maybe being hungry to use my services I'll tell you about in a minute, but so the chapters are arranged around the 7 major categories that people want out of life. And conserve resources, or conserve time, or build social networks, be a social butterfly. But I want to pause here on social network because there's a term now created called solo agers. It's people who went through their, whole career and didn't have children. And that's whether you're single or married. I'm a solo ager. I never married nor had kids. And when your calendar is not impacted by all your kids and grandkids' activities and birthdays and graduations and games, your calendar is totally different. And to be focused on the social aspect is hugely important. And if you know people who are single or even married, okay, and the reason this is came about, that we don't have kids, the pill came into existence, our careers got a chance to do things that we hadn't done before, and abortion, and that a lot of people was so devoted to their career that having a family wasn't important to them. And my younger sister, that's all she could figure is she wanted a family, and she came with lots of drama. All right, so other things people want is gain status, be generous. The opposite with that to me is accumulate resources, and desire meaning is hugely important to me. And that might help you figure out, and I include lots of resources like books, movies, and websites that help you with exploring the possibilities. All right, the 4 pillars of holistic retirement, according to Ken Dykewell, he wrote What Retirees Want, and it came out last year. And he says that it's kind of based in the 4 pillars that support our retirement is health, family, purpose, and financial. Now, what's interesting is if your health changes, that may also impact your finances and maybe your family. Maybe you would purposely move closer to your children, or your children move closer to you because of health changes. Family may change. I've seen one ad on TV that, oh, we're expecting twins and grandbabies, and so they're starting to make an impact on their financial plans. Purpose may impact these other things. I can't see how purpose would affect family. I mean, a health, but you could engage maybe your family in your purpose, and the financial is what we're all used to. So I'm going to have you ask yourself mentally where you currently are in each of these categories. So he defines health as basically 4 styles: healthy on purpose. Are you a course corrector? Maybe you've been health challenged for a while, or you're lax but lucky. And I put myself in pretty much lax but lucky. I've never spent a night in the hospital ever. But I'm definitely moving towards healthy on purpose. So where do you see yourself even now today? And for family, I think this is a huge question. Which family challenge could be a part of your retirement? Caregiving. Boy, that takes a lot of focus. Are you the family bank, or have you been the family bank all along? And that might impact your financial planning if you continue to do that. Divorce or widowhood. We all die as singles, so being a widow is pretty much a natural part of retirement, sad to say. Or do you no plans to provide support at all? For me, I don't currently have plans to provide support. I could see maybe caregiving would come into the picture in the future, but it seems like it's out there quite a bit for me. Purpose for you falls into like 3 categories, largely internal, and I think of this as maybe where you want to leave a legacy. It's important for you to maybe become your dream author or something. Purpose could be largely external and social, and I would see that as giving to others, maybe your community or a special cause. Or purpose can be spiritual, and I actually see spiritual maybe fitting in with a couple of the other, 1 or 2 of the other categories too. And then financial, when he talks about legacy, I imagine this might be your will. In your will, do you have one of these 4 components, and which one is more important to you? Values, wishes, personal possessions, and this is something that might have sentimental value to you, or assets. Pretty interesting questions, aren't they? So when I stand back and look at the holistic view of the future of retirement, I was somewhat alarmed, but I also am trying to stir up some lots of aspirational goals for boomers. So us baby boomers, I'm 74, so I brag about that because nobody believes me. But I'm one of those early baby boomers, and yes, we are a new frontier. We've always kind of rocked the boat and demanded more. Retirees want balance. They are willing to work 3 to 5 years into retirement, but they want it at their terms. They want less hours, maybe 10 or 20 hours a week, but they definitely want to unhook from all that stress. And but I found also that some people want seasonal type work. They want to be able to be gone for a month or 2 at a time. Maybe they want to go visit their children or some long go friends. And so special projects or seasonal work is what would fit their idea of work balance in retirement. And then Ken Dykewell said he claims that elders are hoarding wisdom. And this comes from the fact that an average retiree spends 48 hours of time a week in retirement. And yet only 24% are volunteering 2.3 hours a week. So how come there's not like 80 or 90% volunteering? You know, I volunteer for the food bank delivering senior food, and I do that just in a couple of hours. But this weekend, while I was down in the Mount Rainier area, I was reading Give and Take, and Adam Grant talks about striving for 100 hours of volunteer time a year would be a good goal. And yet he said, if you had as many as 800 hours a week, you're bordering on maybe giving too much of yourself. So that's a big span of hours, but I think the world is hungry for us to share our wisdom in a mentoring kind of thing, and I'm certainly trying to do that with my website. Okay, and then he said leaders are needed to strengthen our communities. Retirees need to pull our weight. My idea of this is I want to see billboards all over the world that say, baby boomers, what are you doing to come alongside your favorite charities or foundations? Or the foundations sponsoring those billboards to say, we're contributing to your and strengthening your communities. Come help us do that. That would be a great message to have on billboards. And then Ken in his research said retirees miss people and purpose, not paychecks when they retire. And yet 31% of new retirees actually struggle to find a new purpose in this stage of life. And he says they want to feel useful, keep learning and growing. And in fact, in the several of his chapters end with a list of potential room for growing business and industry, and things that are being met, but they need to be expanded upon. Or like one example is, he said the feeling useful and learning and growing could be a trip that you plan to, say, South Africa, and you're helping a project down there, and you might do it with your 2 or 3 generations of your family that go with you, and join other people that are doing the same thing. So you're meeting new people, and the whole learning, growing, and being useful is all wrapped up in a simple trip. So the next steps I see for me and you is I'm in the process of wanting to propose a purpose movement series that goes virtually into senior communities or senior assisted living. And a lady that I am connected with on LinkedIn, she's actually helped dementia patients find purpose. That's exciting to me. And I want to create a dialogue, a collaboration, maybe with going into these senior communities. You know, golfing 24/7 may not be that fulfilling. And they need help because, like I say, this whole transition has missed the fact that purpose makes life longevity, longer longevity. Healthcare, you're going to feel better, and healthcare costs are going to be lower, and it's going to give you meaning. So those that are listening today, do you have referrals into people who run senior communities or senior assisted living industry? And I'd love to connect with you about that, or you connect the two of us. Or let's also think about, who do you know that would like to market to the senior communities, and they would be willing to sponsor my Zoom online dialogue with these senior communities. I also recently read Longevity Economy, and he gave a few stories of companies that's tried to market to boomers, and the people designing the program were young white men, and what do they know about getting old? They fell flat on their face, you know. Big investment for sorry results. All right, so if you know people who are currently struggling with retirement now, you could refer them to my coffee chat, booking a 15-20 minute chat with me, and I would help them find one thing that helps move them forward. And my ebook will be on the last page here too. So let's see. Now, the thing that made such a difference for me in retirement is I started coaching class the week before I left my job. And they taught us how to write our essence statement. Well, I've changed the words to inner spark because that relates a little bit more to, you can kind of imagine what that result would be. And it's purely using deep self-knowledge. It's looking at what you know about yourself on the inside that you've never quite connected the dots. And it's so powerful because it results in unshakable confidence. You know, when I know exactly who I am on the inside, it's just, well, I used to bounce off the wall, you know, the first 4 or 5 months. And one day I had a wall hanging on the back of my wall here of my essence. And I know one day I came and read it 3 different times. Gradually, I realized that when I lived from my inner spark, every day felt right. I was doing what was in fact important to me. And I've never struggled with that since. So now the new equation for inner spark, and this is kind of inside information because there's hardly anybody doing this. I found a couple people around the world that do something pretty similar. So if you take what you love to do, that's easy to list, right? Can you list 20 of them? Plus add to that your personal qualities, kind of like your personality. Add to that your hot buttons. And then add to that your aspirations and your values. Who teaches us to enumerate or define our values? We might have an idea of that when it comes to watching news stories or reading the newspaper. Somebody needs to do something about that. That might be part of your values coming out. And then your guiding principles. One of my guiding principles was where there's a will, there's a way. But add all those together. And the amazing thing is it seems like it defines my soul. My class had to stand in a circle and read our essence statement to each other. And it was such a moving moment because nobody had ever asked me to reveal my soul before. It was precious. And that's what I want to do for the world, is help them know what they're here for. What's that unique purpose? The essence, inner spark, doesn't exactly tell you your purpose, but it sure shines the light on it in a very different way. So that your next step, folks, might be to go ahead and get my free gift of 3 tips to create a new life after retirement. This is an ebook that's about 16 pages, and it's not on my current website. So you'll have to email it to your request to me at sharon@effortlessvitality.org. And you can get my book on Amazon, Fresh Courage in Retirement. And again, my email is sharon@effortlessvitality.org. Effortless Vitality is my company name. And then my phone number is 425-877-6655. And I want to thank you for coming today. And I didn't mention that, well, I do have 3 different pages on Facebook, and I do have a retirement well-being group that's free currently. And I am on Instagram as a Queen of Courage.